Hello everyone, my name is Ghost of Wolf, and I decided to do a game review for Rogue Heroes Ruins of Tasos since I just completed it and didn't know how much of my thoughts and opinions went into it. So I just wanted to real quick do this. And just a quick note, this is all based on my own personal experience. So here's what we're going to be reviewing about the game. Alright, so we have a bit to go through, so let's get right to it. The music of the game was fine for me. In most places it felt calming as I explored or fought enemies throughout the world. It was great, and as expected the music is always different for, for different parts of the game, which allowed you to feel more immersed within it. Combat was great, I guess. It's simple, which allows it to be easily understood. Of course, with the sword being the easiest weapon to use, and with other weapons such as bombs, bows, boomerangs, all that being other weapons that you can use throughout the game, allowing for certain classes to be better for you. Of course, the classes are always there, providing a different experience for each playthrough of the game, which I always found great. There's 9 classes that you can choose from, each with different abilities and a different way to play, which always just keeps games fresh every time you play. The dungeons themselves have a few things, which are the design, boss, and difficulty, obviously. So let's just kind of go through all 4 of them. The first dungeon was quite good. It was about, on a scale of 1 to 10, like a 3 for me, as it was more of a baseline for what I could compare it to. It was the boss was pretty creative. I did like that, as it was kind of like a beetle, and its ability to break the ground and summon more enemies made it more difficult, which provided a good challenge. This dungeon on difficulty scale would be about a 4 for me. Second dungeon was had a great design, as it felt like it was trying to go for the abandoned look, which was what it was, and just the design of using the mud inside the dungeon was great, having different waterways. It was really fun to walk around that. Of course, its difficulty was about a 3 or a 4, as it didn't have too many things to challenge me, and it doesn't seem like it would challenge the player all too much. Uh, Boss was a nice one, but was pretty easy, since it's a simple stationary boss that barely moves. Third dungeon was our fire dungeon, which was awesome. Really loved the design of all the fire, lava. The floor design was also really cool. Difficulty wise, was about a 5, as the mechanics of the player being able to jump into the lava made it so that you had to be more careful around where you were, as well as some of the enemies. So that's always there. The floor traps also made it so that its difficulty was at like a 5, since sometimes the floor traps wouldn't actually work right away. You'd have to walk on them and you wouldn't expect it, so that might get fixed, who knows. But the boss itself was fine. The design of the boss was really nice. The boss being a bit more difficult due to the floor being completely made of traps. And uh, yeah, that's kind of all that I have to say about that. Now, the fourth dungeon was absolutely amazing in my eyes, with its overall design just being within snow and taking snow and ice into its creativity. I always love that. difficulty was about a 5 to a 6, depending on what your room combinations are. Because some rooms take the ice and put it as the floor so that it's harder to move, which I do like. The rooms were easily manageable though, and the boss was great as it took a freezing mechanic and made it look better, or made it harder to avoid, I guess. And the other abilities of being able to summon water or break the ice, move around and throw ice at you was always great. Of course, there's always the final boss area, which for me was great. The design of the boss I really liked, as it was simple but still had a good spin on it. And the boss difficulty is more so dictated by your RNG. As uh, so, as an example, I went through the boss fight another 4 times and found on my second fight I had a more difficult time fighting that boss than I did the first time. And then I also had varying results with the other 3 times that I went and fought. So it's more so just kind of whether or not you're lucky. And yeah, the ending isn't super great as it's pretty dull, nothing very rewarding, or nothing that feels rewarding, but at the same time, it feels slightly rewarding, I guess you could say. The overworld itself provides a lot to explore and find, such as the little magical spheres that keep your gems every time you enter a dungeon. I always enjoyed looking through the world, seeing what I could find, and seeing what there was for the player or for me. And so, whether it was going through the swamps, the grasslands, through Fire Mountain, whatever it was, and climbing to the top of Mount Everest, I always found myself having fun exploring. The town is pretty nice. It's pretty simple, but provides a lot of things, such as the general shops, and you can always see the progression of your town as you build, as it gets neater and neater. And I don't know if this is going to change or not, but at the end of the game, I did not fill up the entire town, as you didn't need to. So there were several spaces that were still uh, unoccupied. So I don't know if that's going to be like DLC or anything. And uh, yeah, speaking with the townsfolk is always nice, and kind of seeing what they can do for you and how you can help them. But overall, this game is like a 7.5 out of 10 for me, since it's still an early release, at least at this point in time. There's several things that can still be fixed, as as I said in one of my previous episodes. There was a glitch where you got stuck if you went off the path for a second after grabbing a quest item. So yeah, there's still some things that can be fixed, but for the most part, the game is definitely worth your time and 100% more fun if you get some friends with you. Up to 4 players can be in one world at one time, so have at it. It's really fun. It's worth the money, and as said before, not fully completed, and more DLCs will most likely present itself in the future. So that was my review of Rogue Heroes Ruins of Tasos. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all in the next video.